Well, I'm back again, folks. I wanted to talk right now on a subject that basically a lot of people don't want to touch on friendships. People think that friendships are based on subjects that have to do with the thing called if my friend acts a certain way, then I'll end up being able to get along with that guy better. But my thing about the friendship story is it's not all about that. It's about the fact of us trying to do what God told us to do to other people to make friends. I have friends of all different races, color, sex, and age, and I respect them for their love that they gave me and the love I gave them back and forth. But what makes me mad is a lot of people think that friends are based on if I want to kill somebody and you want to kill somebody and we have the same love for the same thing, that's a good idea. To me, it's not the way life is. God never said live your life to where your friend is a murderer because it wouldn't do no good. Kill it, anybody for that matter. But also, I think that there's a lot of times people on another subject when people want to change their attitude and say, well, somebody told me that what I was doing was wrong, so I think I'll change my name. Like that story about Lady Antebellum wanting to change their name to Lady A because somebody pitched a fit about the name of them. My point of view is if someone wants to pitch a fit about that, let them. It ain't gonna do no good to me or you or nobody if you let the whole world control what you say and what you do. You have to let God control you and let that be it. Let Jesus control you and let that be it. And if you ever have any problems in your family, regardless of what it is, no matter what the problem is, don't sit there and let those problems get to a point where something bad happens. Just take it to God and Jesus and let them handle it. And I've had my moments in life when I would deal with people that were the best in the world to deal with for the subjects I was dealing with. Doctors, you know, elderly people, all different types of folks. And I looked at it, and even preachers, and I looked at it and I said, how come I never met people like that before? How come it takes now for me to do it? And I learned, like God says, like Jesus says, that you have to go through dark times to go through the light, meaning the time when you see the light. And I agree with that. But I never understood all that till day came when I started having a lot of people come into my life that deserved to be in my life because I was good to them. They were good to me back and forth. No matter who started the kindness first, and God approved of it, and Jesus approved of it, said y'all are now friends. And I agreed with that. But see, that's the thing we don't come to the conclusion of. And I'm not saying this for no other reason but because of quality of their performance. Quality of their performance in the case of a politician would mean if the politician doesn't live up to what they claim their job is all about. Like the deal with Joe Biden and Stacey Abrams. She tried to say back when her and Kemp was trying to go against each other that Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia, which is my governor, tried to say that he rigged the election to go his way. I don't believe that. I believe he's as straight about that as Trump is about being what he says he is. And the thing is, y'all got to stop this mess, folks. Stop trying to put blame on somebody and just admit what you've done. She probably did something in her life. She's trying to cover it up. I blame Kemp. I'm saying, whatever wrong I did, no matter what it was, what I'm saying is Kemp's worse than me. That's what she's trying to say. And her be vice president would be a tragedy. A travesty. And I don't believe in all this mess myself. If you want to go for Abrams, that's your business. But don't cook my books on the mess. Don't try to make me look like a criminal. And all these people, look, some of y'all may have had conversations with me in the past. And some of y'all may have tried to say that every person who looked just like me, I'll just put it that way, was bad. Not to look at it like there are some good people and bad people and they come in all different colors, shapes, and sizes. Can't we say that, people? Lay off of the mess about if you look like a black person, you're bad. If you look like a white person, you should hate everybody. If you look a certain way, you're a hillbilly. Look, Last time I checked, there were white hillbillies, black hillbillies, Mexican hillbillies. They don't come in one color. Rednecks don't come in just white. They come in white, black, Mexican, probably German ones. They probably some everywhere. Rednecks are everywhere. And they're all different races, color, sex, and age. So don't get no ideas about it. I bet you don't think about it, but that little boy in that song, Patches, he was a country boy himself. Yes, he was black. But did I see that? No, I seen a little boy that had a lot of growing up to do early in life because his dad had died. And that happens. It happens in life where the man of the house is the youngest or the only boy there is in that house, and he has to take over and do the duties that the dad was doing. I'm not talking about nothing bad. I'm talking about the chores and stuff. And and trying to keep the family glued together. Now I see that as a good thing. But the thing I don't get is I base that on any kid has probably had to go through that in their life. I probably know of a million people that probably had to go through that right at this moment because of the fact that they had all this stuff coming down on them. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. But used to be in the old days, a man's work meant that if the dad couldn't do it, the son did. And then nowadays they say if the dad can't do it, the son will do it. Well, they talking about a whole nother ball of yarn, and I'm not going in that direction. Let's just say, what was your mind at, folks? Let kids be kids. Don't let them grow up too fast and learn the wrong things at the wrong time. I'll just put it like that. Y'all got to wake up. Y'all used to tell people like me all about how life was and what. Then we get down to the meat of it all, and it's like, oh, well, it's not really that way. It's really this way or that way. And you're like, and your point was you couldn't tell them the truth about what really was going on. And all this stuff about stimulus money. Please, folks, don't take me wrong. Do not take me wrong. But a lot of y'all ain't got the nerve God gave anything to admit the fact that our government has not wanted to do their job. Because if they have to give out any amount of money to any person in this world, they feel like they're taking away from them. When Trump has done said when he was in the White House, he wasn't going to take no pay for it. But they said, you have to, it's the law. He said, okay, I'll take a penny. He wasn't trying to say that he really wanted all that money. He probably wishes he wasn't rich at all right now just so he wouldn't have to be looked upon badly. But his attitude should be merited and warranted and saying, look, this man's doing this good thing for us. Now let's look at it that way. Let's look at what he's doing. And Nancy Pelosi, sit down and shut up. All you're trying to say is that you never liked Trump to start with, and you don't like, and it's not him, it's not Donald that you don't like. It's anybody that acts like him. If I was to come up and want to be in the White House, it'd be against me because I have morals. I have spirituality. I am a tarnished Christian, as they call them, which means I am a man trying to do what I can to do right, and that God and Jesus is working on me to get me fully to where we all know I'm going to heaven. And a man like that don't get looked at very fondly in no kind of position, White House or otherwise. So people say, well, if you're going to be like that, then we don't need to deal with you. No, you don't want to deal with someone like me or Donald Trump because we going to do what needs to be done. We'll get the job done, and you don't like that, folks. A lot of y'all guys out there probably would do the same thing. So I might not be the only man that could do it besides Trump and some other folks. But for every one of us that takes it seriously and would do what they had to do to keep this country free, why do we get looked at like we're bad people because we have those morals? Because some folks don't have those morals, and the ones that don't have them, they don't want you to have them. And if you do have them, then they look at you like, you're standing in my way of getting something good done. I seriously believe that, because why would you think that all these people, from Nancy Pelosi to Adam Schiff, have to get smacked around in a metaphorical sense by Mr. Barr? Well, because of the fact that they don't pay no attention to the fact that Mr. Barr, Mr. Trump, Mr. Pence, and all them are trying to do their job. And y'all want to sit there and make it look like, nope. Same for Joe Biden. Same for Stacey Abrams. Same for a lot of them. They don't care about America. They care about what they want and how they get it. If they cared about America, then they would act like it. They wouldn't try to go after anybody with any set of morals. You don't have the morals, so sit down and let the ones that have the morals take over and do what they got to do. Let the real people take over. Don't play head games. You're grown people. Act like it. Act like somebody's got some sense. I love you and you love me. Well, now that is true to a point. Those of you that do care about your fellow man and God and Jesus, you love me. But them other folks don't care nothing about me and don't give a rip because they don't want to care. How would you like it? You're sitting there hearing people say, well, I don't care about nothing but nothing. Well, you care about nothing but nothing. I don't really have a problem with that. Because I'm not going to sit there and have sleepless nights over the fact you don't like me. I never had to say you had to like me. I never said that you didn't like me or didn't have to or you did. But thing is, don't judge somebody because they look a certain way or they act a certain way. Base them on their morals. Base them on their quality. Are they doing what God told them to do or not? If they're not, then they need to be looked at funny. How bad is that? How bad is that? We are grown people in this world, and we can't stand up and say that because somebody's going to get mad. Well, you said something about God. You said something about Jesus. Yes, I did, and I'll continue to do so as long as I live. So don't get so upset at me for stuff I did. And why does it seem like you can see a company put a design out there, and they will truthfully put that design out? But then, while they have that design out, they will go many, many years with that design. Then later on, something bad happens. Oh no, they can't use that design no more. It'll make them look bad. Like NASCAR about the rebel flag. What about them talking about any sports teams to do with Native Americans, the Indians, the Chiefs, and all that? So you're trying to tell me now you want to make something of it after all these years. You haven't said a word about it till now. And then something flares up, and then now it's time to bring it up. So now you got these people saying maybe we need to change our image so we don't get in trouble. Well, if God don't have a problem with it, why should anybody else? It's like, if 10% is good enough for Jesus, well, it ought to be enough for Uncle Sam. Meaning, if Jesus and God is okay with what they're doing, then why can't the rest of the world be that way? If they can accept something, why can't the rest of the world? Now, if God and Jesus said they didn't like that they did about that, stuff, I could understand. We're getting too close and too far with this stuff. I mean, the stimulus program, all this is that I believe there's going to be another stimulus package coming. But what I also believe is that our government is trying to act like a bunch of, I'm greedy because I don't want anybody else to have any money, because if they get money, then that's taken away from my pocket, meaning the government's pocket. And you know what? That's why our government gets laughed at, why it gets made fun of, why it gets looked at real weird from other countries, because they don't understand why Americans are doing what they're doing. And frankly, neither do I, and I'm an American myself. But I'm non-racist. Yes, I'm a white man, but I'm non-racist. I don't believe in hatred. I don't believe in murders. That junk is stupid. Why do this mess? Why do all this mess? It don't make no sense. I have friends of all different races, colors, sex, and age, and I love them dearly, and I pray for them. I pray for everybody because everybody needs prayer. And you should pray for people too. And stop letting all this media brainwash you into believing that it's the world of this color is supposed to be bad, this color is supposed to hate, this color this and that. It's not a color thing. If you want to come down to it, it's an attitude thing. And some people just have the worst attitudes in the world. Expect you to believe that. I better let y'all. I want y'all to know that we got elections going on at times. Some elections done came and gone in some states. But you know what? With that being said, those elections were looked at like, why did this person get so much respect, which led them to winning those elections they were in, when other people that were in the same election didn't get looked at so good, knowing they had more going on than the man that won. It's like that with the sheriff's race in this county. There were two guys. One got looked at like he didn't have that much on him. Other guy had all kinds of things on him, all kinds of positive things. He was this man, he was that man. He was even a preacher. He was even in law enforcement. He was in everything you could possibly think of. Did he get it? No, he didn't. The other man that didn't have hardly nothing on him positive got it. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you there's a lot of too many crazy folks out there voting for the wrong person because they want something done a certain way, and possibly the one that won promised them if they vote for them they'll do something for them. Oh, don't tell me it don't happen. I've heard it before. Well, if you got these problems like you say you do, then if you vote for me, I'll fix them problems. Stop lying like that, man. You gonna lie like that, get what you want, then you gonna turn around and run off and I don't mean run off as in disappear. I mean run off as in like, now you're in the big seat now, sitting there pretty like, where's all them promises you offered those folks? Oh, I'm sorry. You don't offer them no more because you done got there. That was a 2-bit lie just to get yourself in those offices so you could sit in that seat, look like you the big shot, and when you're the big shot, then you end up saying, look at me. And then these people are like, yeah, look at you. I got to ask you a question. And they're like, what? Where's all these promises you offered me? They won't honor those promises because it don't look good to them. Honestly, it's a true story. I know people like that. I know a family that got promised by a guy if he was sheriff, then he would do something for them. But in order for him to do that thing for them, they had to say, okay, we'll vote for you and prove that they voted for him. Once they did all that, he would honor it. Okay, so he never got the election and he disappeared altogether and never said, I'm sorry, or I can't get this done, or say anything. I don't get all that. It's a bunch of mess. There's people out there like that. George Washington was never that way. Abraham Lincoln, no. I mean, they had their faults, but don't everybody. But at least they kept their word about this stuff. And look at Teddy Roosevelt. Look at Franklin Delano Roosevelt. People like that don't exist no more because people don't want to be that loyal to their country. They want to be people that would bow down to another government for so much money. They could be a loyal American citizen, loyal to America, until another country pays him enough money to turn toward them and honor them. And you know it'll happen. It's like saying, if a man was so Christian and he said, I'm a Christian, and then one day somebody does something to him that really persuades him to go toward the devil, then he changes his own mind. Sometimes money, sometimes it's favors. Well, I can go for it if you just believe in the devil. Then he gets thinking, well, I do get these things done. I believe in the devil. I'm one for the devil. Knowing all his life he was a Christian. He believed in God and Jesus. But he got persuaded to the other side because someone promised him if he went to the other side, he would get what he deserved or needed. And see, that's the bad thing about it. People are try hard. And the KKK and all these other hate groups be trying to get the little kids involved in them. Little kids, come on. Now grow up, folks. Little kids don't need to be involved in that mess. I mean, we got youth today having to watch their moms and dads do stupid things like suicides, drug overdose, alcohol abuse, going into clans, going into cults. I mean, you got all kinds of things. Leave this lifestyle alone. If you're going to have kids, you shouldn't do it in the first place. And plus, don't do drugs, don't smoke cigarettes, don't drink alcohol. You might think, well, what do you expect us to do? Not have fun? Oh no. When you listen to God and Jesus, you can have fun. I've had fun with God and Jesus at church functions, concerts, things that I knew God and Jesus was at, and I still enjoyed myself. So you can too if you just stop the arguing, stop the fussing, stop trying to turn to the bad side of life. That's like saying we got corrupt guys now trying to get in all kinds of politics, medical field, lawyer, legal stuff, and don't even know a bit about the rights and wrongs before they even got there. You know what? People say that to be a good lawyer, you need to go to law school. Hey, you can go to all law schools in the world, but that won't make you a lawyer if you don't have the heart to be like the next Perry Mason or the next Ben Matlock. If you can't be like that, then you might as well sit there and say, all that education ain't got nothing to do with it. If you ain't got the morals that God gave you, God said be a Christian doctor, be a Christian lawyer. He didn't say sit there and be a man that said, I got all this degrees so I can go and do the job. Yeah, you could, but what good would that do? Because if you got all that empty space right there in your life, you ain't figured out how to fill it with God and Jesus and the Bible and heaven and Christianity and spirituality. You ain't got it. You could get all this money and be a lawyer high on the hill and still be the poorest man in the world if you ain't got love, if you ain't got the right type of love from Jesus, and you ain't sharing it with people. Don't tell me no. I know my rights and wrongs. And y'all been talking that trash for years about, well, my degrees make me what I am. Well, you ain't got the biggest degree of all. Christian love for your family, love, man, woman and child and your family. You aren't turning around trying to do for people what you do. Because God and Jesus ain't going to ask you to give up everything you own. They're going to say, here's what you do for another person. Only that. All right, I'll let y'all go. Good night.